Welcome to it. I'm getting really bad at this.
I know, we can't remember anything. All right.
Welcome to another edition of Cambridge Inside Out. My name is Robert Winters.
And I'm Judy Nathans. Recovering, but I'm here.
Yeah, and today is May 24th, 2016.
Yes.
And I guess today we're probably going to do more so than anything else, just a little bit of a kind of a what's happening these days.
Yeah, catch up, because last week we had a great segment.
Yeah, we
Will MacArthur.
We loved having Will MacArthur, and actually I owe an email message now to a person who Will connected me with over at Cambridge Regional Latin to give him a hand. I actually forgot her name,
on the PR
to
thing?
basically help set out to do their elections using proportional representation election methods.
Okay.
So anyway, I'll probably respond to that when I get home tonight.
It just makes you proud of our youth.
And speaking personally, I turned in my my MIT grades today.
Oh, good.
I turned in my Harvard Extension School grades last Thursday.
Nobody fails.
Some Harvard Extension School students did, but that was primarily the students who basically quit the course halfway through and never showed up again. Yeah. I think pretty much everyone who made it through to the end, save one, passed the course. My MIT students are going to be much too happy about the grades I gave them.
Much too happy?
I didn't give below a B minus.
Well, they're at MIT and they're taking math. They're pretty smart people.
Right. I wasn't going to kind of bend it downward just for the sake of bending it down. Okay. So that was pretty good. So this is the period of the year when I'm actually a little bit free.
Free.
Free, unencumbered. I mean, I'll go teach again, I think, starting June 20th, but now I can sort of just get into trouble and...
Okay.
Or not.
City beware. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there listening that, oh, God. So
one thing I sort of maybe alert people to, if you're interested, and you don't hate me. Some of you know that I lead walks with the Appalachian Mountain Club Local Walks and Hikes Committee.
Right, I saw that. And, I know that, but I saw this not talk.
Yeah, and a little bit of a lark last night. I put in a walk to lead a walk this coming Sunday that I've done on a number of occasions now. Which is
Have I done that one with you? It seems
Charles
familiar.
River's Edge.
Yeah, I don't
possibly.
know.
Yeah, it's the one with where we start at the Galleria Mall. I think it's at 10 a.m. on this coming Sunday.
Do you have a map of it? I can see it right here. We can show it if you want.
You can. Yeah, let's do that here. So.
Okay.
Whoops, I haven't done this in a while here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, if anybody's interested, if you want to come around, yes, we can talk about civics and politics as we walk here, but what we usually do is we start at the gazebo over at the Cambridge side Galleria Mall, by the Vellucci Fountain. Yeah. And from there we'll walk over by close to the Museum of Science over to North Point and the North Point Park. And then follow the new North Bank Bridge, walking up, skating along the edge into Charlestown, where the USS Constitution is now currently in dry dock at the dry dock number 2, and do a little bit of Charlestown. I'm not quite sure exactly how much. And then we'll kind of come on back, go over the Charles River Dam, do a little bit of Boston before working our way back to Cambridge. Probably 5 or 6 miles, thereabouts.
And about how long do you think that'll take?
Never totally sure. I think it usually takes maybe about 3 hours. Could be a little more. Yeah.
And what's the weather? I'm
hoping there is a potential for, a thunderstorm could happen,
really?
but
it's not weather dependent, or will you?
If it's crummy, we'll delay it, push it back a week or something like that.
So people could find that out by going to your.
Yeah, no, I know some people. I actually also posted up on the Civic Journal website. Kind of hoping some Cambridge people come along.
Yeah.
I tend to give a little bit of historical stuff when we were walking and talking. So if anybody's around, come on by.
Yeah, great.
And you can hang out with TV stars.
right. Yeah.
Really serious.
I've done I biked that path when I went to save that stuff for their anniversary.
Oh yeah,
that's near there.
Bridge. Yeah. No, it's an amazing. There are actually 2 relatively new features in around Cambridge that, if you haven't seen, you should see. One is the North Bank Bridge and North Bank Park, and the whole way that's shaped up. It's really kind of incredible.
Yeah.
You know, in what used to be an industrial wasteland is now one of the most beautiful places in town.
But it's still being developed, some of it, yes.
Yep.
Like for-
Yeah, where EF, you know, Education Foundation is,
Right.
and on the other side of the old Prison Point Bridge, that's where the big development of North Point's going to be.
And is that settled yet, or is that all part of the, I get so confused between
Some
the
of it's
master
happening
plan
now.
and
It's
stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's pretty much the plans are all in place.
All right.
It was just a matter of the economic climate being such good. And for a while,
True,
things got
right.
stalled.
Right.
But it's going to be happening in a big way. You know, I think somewhere in the neighborhood of, I heard I hear 2,400 units of housing total, something in that order. So
And
it's
is
going to be like a whole.
inclusionary
Yeah.
housing in that?
The
Oh,
city
all that
is
stuff's been
really
done,
looking
yeah.
forward to getting inclusionary
Okay.
units from that.
All right.
So that's something coming up.
Okay.
Actually, let me sort of jump a little out of sequence
Yeah.
and say that there's
Let me
there's
go
this
back here.
there's this other thing that's happening this Thursday for those who are interested, which I'm going to be there because it's just an.
Oh,
incredibly
I'm going to go to that
interesting
too. I responded yes to that.
thing. Yeah, actually, by the way, I don't know if you saw the news, but today they came out with the latest official population estimate for Cambridge.
Today? Yeah?
Today, yeah, based on, they do sort of some updates between the
I
census
somehow I
years.
saw it. Was that in the Globe?
I just saw it a little bit on Twitter. Community Development Department was just
Okay.
tweeting it
What
out.
is
that
it?
Where I think it's we broke 110,000.
I think I read something that we've actually gained population. It was like
Yeah.
109. So I think I saw it in the Globe. I didn't see it on Twitter.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I thought, wow, that's interesting.
Who
So,
are those people?
well, I think some of the new condo buildings. I
Yeah.
mean, Cambridge population peaked some years ago, probably at the 100 and high 120s. But then in those days, it was larger families in fewer housing units.
120s. When was that?
1950s.
Oh, when we still had
Yeah.
factories and jobs
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
a lot of working people and larger families,
Yeah.
and it was a different
Larger
time.
families, right?
So now we have a lot more housing units, I think. Probably
Right.
not enough, arguably, but
More singles, probably.
definitely smaller units and a lot more units. So yeah, it's a different type of city from what it was. But anyway, this for those who are
Yeah,
interested
it's
in,
a Thursday.
yeah, and actually there's even a flyer. I
There
think
is.
you can-
Now,
you
where
can
am
click
I-
on the flyer?
Well, I don't see it here.
If you go further down.
Oh, okay. All right.
So the thing is it's on this Thursday. I think it starts at 6:30 to
6:30.
9.
Yeah.
There's an event called Cambridge: Who We Are and How We Got
there we go.
Here. It's
Here we go.
put together by the
Flyer
Cambridge
for
Citizens.
event. If I click on that, will it get bigger?
Yeah, we should get that right here. So
There we
just
go.
fine.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Let's
Yeah.
just swing across here.
There we
so,
go.
Now,
They
I
do
mean,
want you to RSVP because they, I think, want to.
I think just want to get a sense
Yeah.
of how many people are going to be there.
It's right there.
Yeah, there's no
CambridgeMan.gov.
cost associated
Nope.
with it. But it's at Cambridge College, which is 1000 Mass Ave, 6:30 to 9 on Thursday, May 26th. And I'm always thrilled to do anything
Yeah.
which has Charlie Sullivan is giving a
Right,
presentation.
I was going to say, he's presenting.
And
Yeah.
Cliff Cook from, works within the CDD establishment, does a lot of the demographics and all of that kind of stuff.
And we'll
he's-
probably talk about this population.
yeah, we'll get a whole, it's
yeah.
really, this is more about not so much the buildings of the Cambridge, it's
But who
really the
lives
people
here. Mm-hmm.
of Cambridge and how that has changed over the 150 plus years as a city and even earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So as we said, we'll have Charlie Sullivan from the Cambridge Historical Commission will
Great.
be part of that, and Cliff Cook. So that's going to be a great little thing. So
Yeah.
anyway, those are two sort of really, I think, pretty important things that are coming up that I figure we should mention
Definitely.
right off the bat.
Yeah.
In terms of things that have been happening around town, though, I just want to say a few words about something I was at this past Wednesday. Actually, this the whole discussion about the master plan
Yeah.
commenced in 2013.
Wow.
Was the original call. There was a lot of different facets of the process. Cambridge Conversations was one big piece of it. Eventually culmination in the selection of UTIL, which is a consultant to help facilitate the whole process of what they're calling the Envision Cambridge process. All right, so I'm on the Envision Cambridge Advisory Committee. There's also a committee on an outreach committee and another more specific working group dealing with Alewife area. So everybody's met now.
Oh, I mean, each individual
Yeah.
group has met.
Yeah, they've been making, the consultants and the community development department have been making presentations, including one at a roundtable at the city council meeting
Right,
last week.
I watched that. Mhm.
Yeah, but the committees that were sort of charged with helping advise the process through, that they didn't meet actually until this past week. So the first one was, I think, the outreach committee, which was on, actually, I'm not even sure exactly what day that
Sometime
happened.
last week,
And actually, let me say one thing about this is that
Yeah.
and it was very, very clear when we had our meeting last Wednesday, one of the most significant parts of this entire process is trying to do what in some respects has been the impossible, trying to get a really good outreach across all sorts of factions across the city, different populations, different languages spoken, different neighborhoods, different everything. And that's kind of the opposite of what we usually have in a lot of civic discourse in the city, where it's sort of, pretty well the known characters will come to the
Yeah.
meetings
People
on
who
either
know.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, but there's always been this kind of disconnect because whenever the city would do a survey, which they do pretty much, I think, every year or at least every 2 years prior to the goal-setting process, which, by the way, the city council is having a goal-setting meeting June 8th, I don't know where.
A goal-setting meeting.
Yeah, this is something the city council tries to do at least every
Once
2
a year.
years.
June 8th.
Well, they've done it more frequently.
Wednesday.
Yeah, sometimes these things turn into sort of encounter sessions where
It's
city
probably,
council
it's
get to know
more
each
just,
other.
it's not a public meeting.
Well, I'm confused a little bit about that because
I don't
they are.
see how it could be. I mean,
If
why
city
would-
council is talking about setting goals,
Yeah, but they can
that is-
present them, though. I mean,
I know, but the thing is when they're talking about things that are policy related, and that certainly is, open meeting laws generally put some restrictions on this. So I don't know if there's any exceptions. I mean, if they want to do it that way, it's not going to bother me particularly. But the thing is, I'd like to know. But where was I going with this?
you attended your meeting on Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
The main point I was trying to make here was simply that
we usually don't get the voices.
we
of
don't
some
usually get the
people.
voices of everybody, and
Right.
and this has really been one of the most distinct and interesting and really admirable aspects of this whole process is the attempt to try and get as many voices as possible. We don't always do that.
Right,
You
and they're
know.
just starting it because they
Just
really,
starting that,
you know.
and you can already see that some of the same olds will sort of try
Yeah.
and pack the meetings, and I'm sure as we all start getting communications, there'll be sort of the call will go out to certain factions to make sure they overrepresent themselves as much as
Because
possible.
I think there's an online form you can fill out. Is
Yeah,
that true?
but I do give credit to the consultants in CDD for really making an effort
Yeah.
to reach out. So when we had our first meeting, the advisory committee on Wednesday, I got to say I enjoyed it immensely. Yeah, it's there are 18 people on the committee,
It's a lot of people.
and the thing that really struck me right away is that I think they were very good. They did a really good job at getting
Who's they? I mean, is it people from Utah that
Well,
run it, or is it community development people?
It's really both.
Okay.
UTL is basically the consultants
Right.
brought in. They do a lot more extensive analysis of things.
Right.
They've got some sort of partners in the process for looking at specific things that may not be on staff within community development department, but it's very much a partnership as far as I can
So
see.
who was there representing?
UTL was Tim Love was the sort
Okay.
of the principal
I've heard him.
person
Yeah.
with
He was at the
one of the
round table,
founders.
right? Yeah.
And and he was great. Iram Farouk from the head of the community development was there, and Stuart Dash and others.
Okay.
Melissa Peters is the person who is kind of the staff person that is specifically associated with this process.
Okay.
But the members of the committee, we have representatives of the development parts of MIT and Harvard. Most of the members of the committee are citizens. Ruth Ryan Allen, whose family has owned and operated Patty's Lunch
Oh,
on
wow.
Walden Street forever, which is
Still there, huh?
It is a Cambridge institution, honestly. So Ruth is on the committee. We hit it off pretty well right immediately.
And these were people that showed interest in being on the committee and then were appointed, right?
Yeah, so the appointing authority is Richie Rossi ultimately, but certainly he was being advised by people in the community development
like
department.
We need this or that.
Yeah, so I was just downright
Yeah.
thrilled with what came of it, and it was a wonderful time, and I'm really optimistic about it.
So how did 18 people get a voice, or was it more talking and listening, or?
Well, I was expecting there was going to be more members of the public. It was advertised.
I thought those were closed.
No, nothing's closed. Nothing.
But there's no public comment.
There is an opportunity for public comment, but we only had one quasi-reporter there.
See, I didn't know that. And I think I'm in the know, and I didn't know that those were open meetings.
Oh, yeah, they are. And
Okay,
it's like
that's good to know.
It's
All
one or
right.
two members, real members of the public were there as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was staff and committee members, and we went around. Everybody introduced themselves, and and later on, we all pretty much laid out, what do we think are things that we really need to address.
So this was more the first time you all had gotten together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you say, who am I, and you're learning who other people are.
And I've served on some of these committees before. In fact, I just as a personal joke to myself, I bring a little notebook, and the notebook I brought was the very same one that still had a lot of pages in it that I used for the Green Ribbon Open Space Committee back in '99, 2000-ish.
Wow.
So
That's
I'm using that for
16 years
Envision
ago.
Cambridge. But everybody went around. Some of the things that I certainly highlighted was, and I wasn't the only one. It was kind of nice. There was a lot of things that I would say that were important to me, and other people were saying exactly the same.
Synergy. Is that what the word is?
It really felt pretty good.
Good. What came out? What were the highlights for you? What was
I won't necessarily say
highlights,
for
but
everybody.
concerns.
I certainly said that we need to talk a little bit about the viability of retail in the city. So that you cannot survive just on cafes and restaurants.
Right. And banks.
Right, and phone stores, right?
Phone stores, right.
The role of small landlords.
Or yoga studios.
Yeah, that's right. I really emphasize the need for, never mind just becoming an advocate for this issue or that issue or this interest or that interest, but just to sort of focus more on a kind of a systems approach for a well-functioning, city is like a big system. From the infrastructure right up onto the public festivals. It's everything has to kind of work together. If you have a city that has that produces wonderful jobs, and it can't house people, that's not good.
Right.
Right? If you have a lot of people, but then the small retail establishments that everybody loves cannot afford the rent, that's not good.
Right.
So how do you kind of get things in such a balance that the entire system functions like a well-oiled machine? Maybe you never do, but I think
it is hard in the systems we have that we have to deal with, which is profit and all that stuff.
Another thing I emphasize, I wouldn't say emphasize, but I felt obliged to mention is, there's a lot of emphasis in this process so far that I've seen on feedback. So feedback from the public, the public says something, the consultants come back and they respond, and then people come back and forth. But I was a little worried that there wasn't going to be a place for what I would call out-of-the-box thinking. Sort of the big ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't making any specific proposals, but I said, but if, for example, somebody wanted to come and say, what we really need is a new bridge across the Charles River, which nobody's really advocating for that, but if somebody made the case that was a useful thing, and it was sort of really different, and nobody was thinking about it, I want at least those sorts of things to come out, and people say those things. People want to say, well, maybe we need to put a deck over some of the railroads over close to the Somerville border, and build some playgrounds on top of a deck built over the railroads. When everybody's debating about whether we should have higher density, lower density, this, that, and the other thing, sometimes the notion about there might be some creative new ideas, there's just no place to have that conversation. So I hope we can do that too.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was a really good first meeting. I don't know about the other committees, but I believe we're scheduled to meet every 6 weeks.
Okay.
Somewhere in that order. And for 3 years. This is like getting drafted.
3 years. So what is the purpose of it? To get together and discuss where you're at, or for them just to get feedback from you?
We are just the advisory committee.
Advising on...
Well, I mean, the thing is the consultants are working with CDD, so if they come up with stuff, they'll bounce it off of us.
Okay, so in between those 6 weeks, you get communications?
Yes, yeah.
So you're expected to be up to date on what's going on with the whole process.
One thing I was very impressed at is that the very opening remarks from Iram Farouk from CDD said, we don't, your job is, because it was almost like she's saying, this is your job, right? We want to hear from you and your opinions, but each of you represents one or several different communities. And your job is to go out and listen to them and bring that back to the meetings.
Did everybody,
so we've all been
did that make
drafted.
sense to everybody?
Everybody.
Okay, so they all realize they're representing not just themselves, but...
Yeah, our job is not just to sort of show up and spout ideas that we dreamed up on the way over.
Okay.
Right. So, I take that charge seriously. I went to a meeting of the Mid-Cambridge Neighborhood Association.
Which would be very much your...
Yeah, and I made that announcement. Actually, at that meeting, I wasn't planning on mentioning this, but I will. It was this past Thursday, I think. And they invited Richie Rossi to sort of give a vision for the future of Cambridge. And Richie not only did that, but he gave a really, really nice overview of how he's seen the city over the years and how things have evolved. And it was very, very well received. He got a huge ovation. So it was.
Did anybody record that? That would have been nice.
I don't think anybody recorded it. I don't know.
You may be giving that again, though, at other things. He's invited to a lot of stuff this year.
He's the man. He's
right,
definitely the man.
Exactly.
Another thing I thought I might mention was in the Cambridge Chronicle. I saw it this morning, but there was this wonderful interview done by Luis Vasquez. Luis actually was a city council candidate in Cambridge 2013.
Yeah.
Really great guy.
He's a family, kids.
Wonderful family and wonderful person. Cambridge born and bred.
Yeah.
Salt of the earth, and he's been doing a series of interviews of sort of, I forget exactly how it was billed, but it was something like of people who matter, really important characters who just need people need to be introduced to them. So he did an interview, a nice interview with the new acting police commissioner, Chris Berg, and it was wonderful. It was
Can find it. We can see it right there.
Here. Actually, we'll sort of give a little taste of it right here.
Yeah.
So it's just this Q&A where he just does an interview with somebody, and that's Luis. Now, I think before he was a city council candidate, he was actually doing a column for the Chronicle back then. And then he kind of set that aside while he was a candidate, and he may have. I think he's done some writing for them since. But I was reading this, and it was wonderful. So I give him a lot of credit. I actually sent Luis an email today saying you should come on the show and, come on here with us. So hopefully we can sell him on the idea if that's at all possible. All right, so that was fine. Now, another little bit of business that's been going on. We did have another city council meeting yesterday, right? Right? That's okay. Okay, we'll do that. So the city council met yesterday, and the number one item on the agenda was the passing of the fiscal year 2017 budget. So we'd gone through all the budget hearings, and this was the scheduled night when it was expected to be approved. So again, these things generally blow through without much of any debate because it's all kind of worked out in advance. So it went pretty quickly. In addition to the passing of the budget, there was also, I forget exactly how much, it was a very large, $188,000 plus in loan, appropriations. The biggest one in there being for the new school on Cambridge Street that's to be built, that I guess they're already starting on. So that was pretty routine in a way, but this is part of the process we do every year. There were a few other interesting items on the agenda. One item I found kind of interesting was the city is actually in the process of having what they call a friendly taking of the building on Massachusetts Avenue, which is 859 Mass Ave, which is has been the home of the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce since the 1970s. We'll see if I'm a little a little not at my in my element here to kind of pull it up on the computer here right now. But perhaps in a bit we'll pull up a photo here, sort of showing the original ribbon cutting
Sorry.
of that. All right, we're back here now.
Where's that?
So just down there, number, I forget where it is. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so here we go. This is, and I sort of have a funny feeling I may have actually brought this up on a previous Cambridge Inside Out, maybe a year or something ago, or maybe it was in 2014 because I see the date on there. So that's actually about 2 years ago. So the city apparently is going to be, I think they did take a vote during executive session. I don't know what the outcome was, because I'm not supposed to know about those things, to where the building will actually be added to the stock of buildings where there'll be some other city offices, maybe some things related to the information technology folks. It could be some other things as well. But here it is. This is a picture taken in the 1970s. And in it, there's Councilor David Clem. I think Peter Vellucci's in the picture, Joe Kennedy. And I'll sort of skip. There's Al Vellucci up front, and there on the far right, you see a young fellow with a turtleneck. That's Robert Healy. A much younger Robert Healy. So I think this is actually before he became city manager. He may have been deputy city manager at that time. So anyway, well, we're just about out of our first half hour here.
Excuse me.
We're surviving.
Getting over something.
Getting over something here. So we'll have more to say here about things that are around town in a few minutes.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
If you say just Robert, it means that I can't come back.
Well, we'll do our best. So
Yeah,
anyway,
you'll
this
do your best.
has been Cambridge Inside Out.